Hey wonderful people, so today we're going to be making these beautiful Christmas Santa hat earrings. As you can see, we've got our little pom-poms over here, we've got a beautiful lining for the Santa hat over here connected to some sterling silver earrings. So let's jump right into the video and I'll help you learn how to make these for yourselves. These are the perfect gifts for yourself or for your loved ones. Alright, enjoy! So in order to make this, you're going to need some red cotton yarn or red thread. For me, I have 4-ply cotton yarn, so all I'm going to be doing is pull apart a little bit of, well, not really a little bit, probably like 2.5 to 3 meters worth of red yarn, I'd say, maybe two-ish meters. So I'm going to do that now and I'll show you how to do it. So all I do is I grab my yarn, as you can see here, it's 4-ply cotton yarn. So I will pull apart one strand and I'll pull that all the way along the length of my pre-cut 2/2.5 to 3 meters worth. I think 3 meters will probably be a little bit too much, but it's always great having more than less. I mean, again, it's not the biggest issue in the world, even if you don't have enough, because you can use a new strain of yarn and weave it into the previous stitch. So again, it's just up to you how much you want, but I'd recommend about at least 2 meters worth. Okay, so from here we're gonna start with this red yarn, and what we're going to make is a magic ring. So for those of you who don't know, check out my tutorial videos that show how to crochet for beginners, because I'll show you how to make a magic ring there. But if you know how to make a magic ring, it's just essentially the same thing. You're just using a smaller hook, and by the way, we use a 0.9 millimeter hook. We're going to use a pair of cutters. We'll actually definitely use a very small and sharp needle there. Later on, we're going to make a very tiny pom-pom. So there's just a lot of little things that we'll be doing to make this Santa hat. And this is a great little gift that you can make for yourselves or for somebody else for Christmas or around Christmas time if you're into that. So let us begin with our magic ring. So here's the magic ring that we're going to make right here. And now the first thing that we've got to do is make 4 single crochet stitches inside this magic ring. Now when I say the number 4 is actually not a lot. Usually, you know, I'll start off amigurumi patterns with 6 single crochets in a magic ring, but here we're only going to do 4. So because we're only going to do 4, what I will suggest for you to do is to make these stitches a little bigger than you normally would. So just make them a little bit loose, if you will, because you don't want to have trouble getting into them later, especially because there's only 4 stitches in the round. And yeah, again, that's not many when you're talking about the round. And we are going to be crocheting in a spiral as well, so we're not going to make a slip stitch and chain 1 after every round. So you do need to remember the numbering. If you want to use a little stitch marker or something, feel free to do so. Maybe a little piece of 1-ply yarn to make your stitch marker here. I'm just going to be counting as I go through it. Now you'll see that I pulled that yarn tail from the magic ring, and the next thing we're going to do for another 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds, we're going to do 4 single crochet stitches. So technically right here is going to be the beginning of my second round as soon as I've entered into that stitch. And now what I want to do is just make a single crochet stitch, and again I'll make this a little loose so it's easy for me to continue in the round. So there's 1 single crochet stitch. Then this is my second round, by the way. Here's my second single crochet stitch in the second round. Then I'm coming in over here, this is the 3rd stitch, and making a single crochet stitch right there. And then my 4th stitch over here, which will be the end of my second round. So there we go. Now at this point we've finished the second round. As you can see, it's starting to pull its way up. So how to correct this is you've got to make this go the right way around. So you just put your little hook in there and pull your piece so that you're putting it the right way around. And you want to do this by at least round 2, because if you wait until round 3, you may have trouble trying to put your piece in the right direction. Alright, so we're on our way now to beginning round number 3. So round number 3 also consists of 4 single crochet stitches. So here is number 1, I'm coming into the next stitch now and making the second single crochet stitch, as you can see there. Then I turn my piece around and I will come into the next stitch and make the third single crochet stitch. And still I'm making them a little bit loose so they're not hard or difficult to enter into. And here's the fourth stitch in the third round. Now we still have another 2 rounds of just 4 stitches. So this is the hardest part, honestly, of the Santa hat. So here is the 4th round, stitch number 1. Stitch number 2, make them a little bit loose. Stitch number 3 and stitch number 4 coming right up. There we go. Now we have 1 more round to go, so this will be round 5, and again this will be the 4 single crochet stitches. So again, stitch number 1, stitch number 2, stitch number 3 coming up, and stitch number 4. And now we have finished the 5th round, and that was probably the hardest part of our Santa hat. Everything else from here on out is going to be a lot easier because we're going to increase and increase until we get quite a big structure here. So in the 6th round, you want to make a single crochet stitch and then an increase in the next stitch, and you repeat that 2 times. So let's do that here. So we've got a single crochet stitch for the 6th round. In the next stitch, you'll make an increase, which is just 2 single crochet stitches in the 1 stitch. So here's my increase right here. Then in the next stitch, you repeat that. So you'll do a single crochet stitch first. Here's my single crochet stitch, and then you'll make an increase right here to finish the 6th round. So that's 6 rounds done right here. Now in round 7 and 8, you'll be doing 6 single crochet stitches. So no increases, just 6 single crochet stitches. So let's do that together. Here's 1, here's number 2, number 3, and make sure you don't make any increases, okay? Get single crochet stitch in each stitch. So here's number 4, number 5 coming up, and number 6 over here. So that's round 7 done. Now let's do round 8. So here we go, round 8 coming up again. 1, 2, 3. Let's do number 4, 4th stitch right here, number 5, and number 6. Okay, round 8 is now complete. Guys, you're making such progress. I'm so proud of you. Well done. All right, let's do round number 9 now. So round number 9 is 2 single crochet stitches and then an increase straight after, and you repeat that pattern twice. So let's do that now. So we'll do the first single crochet stitch, then the second, then we will make an increase in the next stitch. So increase is right here, 1 single crochet stitch and then 2 single crochet stitches, and just repeat that twice. So here, first single crochet stitch, in the next stitch another single crochet stitch, and then in the next stitch an increase, and this will finish off round number 9. So here's round number 9 now complete. Now in round number 10, you will just be doing 8 single crochet stitches. So that's just completing a single crochet stitch in every stitch. So here's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, halfway with round number 10, number 5, and 6. You just got to always be careful with this. Number 7, and finally number 8. And when I say be careful, I just mean don't crochet more than 1 stitch in the stitch space that you're working in. So there we go, that's round number 10 all done. Now in round number 11, this time we're going to make 3 single crochet stitches and then an increase, and repeat that twice. So let's start that. 1, 2, 3, and right next part is to make an increase. So remember, the increase is just 2 single crochet stitches in the 1 stitch. So here's number 1 and there's number 2, and now we just repeat that pattern again. So we're doing 3 single crochet stitches and an increase. So here's my first single crochet stitch, my second single crochet stitch, my third single crochet stitch, and of course finishing the round with an increase when I can get to it right here. So there's the first and the increase to finish that off. So there we go, that's the 11th round. Now in round number 12, we're just going to do 10 single crochet stitches. So I'll show you this here. This should be fairly easy at this point. You can see we're getting bigger and bigger now. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's almost like you can do this with me. 5, but if I'm going too fast, don't forget to pause the video and then come back to it. So that's number 5, then number 6, number 7 is coming up right here, number 8, 2 more to go, 9 and 10. All right, so we've just finished the 12th round now, which is excellent. You guys are making such good progress here. We're only 10 minutes in. Good job. In the next round, so this will be round 13. This time we'll be doing or making 4 single crochet stitches and then an increase. So let's see this here. We've got 1, 2 stitches. Here's number 3 and here's number 4, and then we have an increase after the 4 stitches. So here's the first increase right there, now complete. Now repeat that again. So 4 single crochet stitches. You can see I'm moving this yarn tail as I go so I don't get it trapped anywhere. So there's 1, 2, 3 and 4, followed by an increase to finish this off. And when I say finish this off, I mean the round. So this, I believe, was round 14. I want to say 14. Was it 14? No, it was 13, sorry. Okay, 14 is right now. So this is where you'll do 12 single crochet stitches. So 1, 2, 3. You can see why it helps to count, right? 4, number 5 coming up. 6 to make our halfway point in this round 14. Then 7, 8, let's see how many more we've got to go, 9, 10, just making sure I get in the right stitch, 11 and number 12. So there we go, round 14 is now complete. Now we will make something different. So we're not going to do what we've been doing. It's like 2 then increase, 3 then increase, 4 then increase. No, we're not going to do that. This time in round 15 we're going to do or make a single crochet stitch and then an increase, and we will repeat that 6 times. So let's do that here. Single crochet stitch, increase. So this is number 1. Then single crochet stitch again, and then increase to make that number 2. Remember, we want to repeat this 6 times. So single crochet stitch and then increase, 1 and 2. So that's the 3rd time we've done it. Single crochet stitch and increase for the 4th time. We will start I guess skipping through this video because you will be able to pause this and do it yourselves as well. So single crochet and increase for number 5. Then last one, single crochet and then increase as our number 6 increase and finish increase for the round. So now we have a total of 18 stitches in the round, which is perfect. Now in round 16, which is the following round, we're just going to make 18 single crochet stitches. So feel free now to just pause the video and work your way with those 18 single crochet stitches. So I'm up to 2, 3, etc. Okay, so we've just finished round number 16 there with 18 single crochet stitches. Now in round number 17, we are going to do the following: 2 single crochet stitches and then an increase all the way around. So we repeat that 6 times. So let's do this now. So 1, and here's the second, and then followed by an increase. 1 and the second stitch in the same stitch to finish that increase. So now repeat that for a total of 6 times. So you'll have 5 more to go, and then we'll meet up back at the end. Okay, so we've just finished round number 17. So in round number 18, it will just be you making 24 single crochet stitches in the round. So no increases here. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., and just do this 24 times, so 24 stitches in the round. Finished our 24 single crochet stitches in the round. Now what we will be doing is the following. So 1, 2, 3 single crochet stitches, and then we have an increase. So let us just make that increase now in the next stitch. So here's the first single crochet stitch, coming back in the same stitch and making the increase. And now we will repeat this again, and we'll repeat it actually a total of 6 times. So there's my second, third single crochet stitch, and then an increase, and this will be the second time that I have completed the increase. So you want a total of 6 increases for all the way around, and then you will have 30 single crochet stitches in the round. So just complete that, pause the video, and then come back. Now that we have finished round 19 with 30 single crochet stitches in the round, so that was 3 single crochet stitches and an increase, at the end of that we're going to change our yarn color to white. So if you have white cotton yarn, pull one strand of that apart, maybe have like pre-cut maybe 2 meters or so, but you want to use white yarn here. If you have white thread, go ahead and use your white thread. Now we do need to change the yarn color after our 30th stitch. So this is where we performed our final increase. Now all I will do is put my needle between these 2 little stitches right there. So there's those 2 stitches, I hope you can see them. And I'm gonna grab the white yarn, give myself a little bit of a yarn tail as well, so maybe about this much, and then thread it through with my crochet hook, as you can see here. Now I'm going to pull both the red and white yarn tails here and weave them as I go all the way around. So here what I want to do is just make 30 single crochet stitches. So make these a little bit looser than you normally would. Not too loose, but just a little bit more loose, because in the next round you're going to have to go in the back loops, and you want to make sure that's easy for you to do. So make 29 single crochet stitches, weave in the yarn tails for maybe the next 5 or so stitches, and then we'll come back just before we finish our 30th stitch over here. Alright, so we've just finished 29 single crochet stitches, and you can now see how this, as I'm coming around here, it's a little bit taller than how we started, and that's because we're crocheting in the spiral. Now there are some great ways for trying to have these match up. This is one way that I found kind of works, and especially for something that's, you know, this small anyway, it won't be that visible, and we're going to cover it up a little bit later anyway. So instead of doing our normal single crochet stitch as you would here for our 30th single crochet stitch, instead we're going to come directly below this point into this part here, and this is what you call a spike stitch. So it's a little bit more elongated, it stretches over the stitch and you get into the stitch space, and then you will pull it up and complete this spike stitch right here. You can see by doing so it kind of gradients it out, if you will. Alright, so that there is our 20th round, I do believe. And now for the 21st round, what we want to do is crochet 30 single crochet stitches, but in the back loop. So every back loop now you want to make a single crochet stitch. So here's my number 1. Here I'm coming into the back loop over here, and here's number 2. And this is why I said don't have these stitches too tight in the previous round that we did. So that's number 2. Then we come here in the 3rd, if I can see it, which now I can, and there we go, here's the 3rd. So you're going to continue doing this all the way around until you reach your 30th stitch as well. So remember, back loops only for this round. And right here's my 30th stitch that I'm just about to make and now finished. So all we would do from here is I'll come into the very next stitch and I'll just make a slip stitch to finish this off. So I'll slip stitch it there, and then I will grab the yarn and pull the rest of the yarn through. We have a little bit here, so maybe I won't pull all of it through. I'll just cut around this much so we can weave it in later. Now we also do want to cut these 2 yarn tails that we had before. We wove them in, remember, 5 or so stitches before, so we can cut this. And with this part here, I wouldn't recommend, I mean, you could weave it in if you wanted to, otherwise you could just cut it nice at the top there so you can't really see it. as best as you can at least. So just cut it off there. It's pretty secure anyway, so you shouldn't have any issues with that, and then it will be covered anyway by your little Santa hat. But you will need to weave this part into the inner lining of your Santa hat over here. So get a little small needle and go through some of these stitches and then weave it through that. So here you go, I'm just weaving mine in through a couple of these stitches. I probably could have done a few more if I wanted to. I'm just going to use a pair of pliers to really pull that through, because it's almost impossible if you just have your fingers. The fingers are just not strong enough. And that's why I say using a very small and sharp needle that can help you get through these stitch spaces. All right, so we've got most of our Santa hat here. And now what we will need to do is add this bottom section here, as you can see. So here we've got some very nice lining from our Santa hat. So we will need to do this as well with 2 rounds of this. So let's do that now. Okay, so now that we have finished our white part of our Santa hat, now we still need to use the white yarn. So grab yourself some more white yarn if you have. And all you will need to do is the following. So let's see what I've written here. You won't be able to see this because I wrote this as my own pattern, but what we'll be doing, you'll see it at the bottom anyway. So once you've woven your yarn tail inside, as you saw, what we will do now is attach the yarn and make 1 chain and then a single crochet stitch in every front loop. So that's the reason why we went into the back loops anyway. So if I just have a look for my first front loop, and I believe it's over here, so let's see if we can get into it. So there is my first front loop. And now what we'll be doing is grab the yarn, so the white yarn at this point, leave a little bit of a yarn tail because we'll weave that in as we go along. And then you'll come in here, you'll chain 1. Well, actually, you don't even need to chain 1 at this point. All you need to do is come in here, come back inside our front loop. Actually, you do need to chain. Sorry about that. Okay, so chain 1. If you don't chain 1, you can't make the single crochet stitch, which is unfortunate. So weave in this yarn tail as you go. So make a single crochet stitch, just like that, and then chain 1. Okay, so now we'll go into the next front loop. And FLO means front loop only. And then pull the yarn through again, single crochet and chain 1, as you saw there. The next front loop, let's get into it. It might take, so it's nice and easy if you bring this close to your eyes so you can see those front loops. I'm a little bit far away here, so I'm kind of just feeling my way around as well. But there we go. So I'm into the front loop. I'm going to weave this yarn tail in for the next 5 or so stitches again, pull it through, make a single crochet stitch, and then chain 1. So that's what you will be doing the entire way around. So remember, there are 30 front loops in this round, so you'll be doing 30 single crochet stitches and chain 1. All right, so I'll let you do that, and we'll come back once we've finished those 30 single crochet stitches and 1 chains. Let's do that now. Okay, here we go. So I've just finished the last chain from my 30 single crochet stitches and chains. So now I'm going to come into the very first stitch over here and make a slip stitch, just a regular slip stitch over here. And all I'll do is I'll chain 1 again, and then I'll come into, as you can see, directly below, I'll go into the front loop of the stitch that's directly below, and then I will pull the yarn through, make a single crochet stitch and chain 1. And now we're going to continue this again all the way around. So always in the front loops, you'll make the single crochet stitch and then chain 1. And again, so come into the front loop, single crochet stitch and chain 1. Let's do it again, single crochet stitch and chain 1. So I'll let you guys complete that all the way around and then make a slip stitch in the very first stitch to finish off the round there. So I'm just coming into that very first stitch of the round there, and now I'm going to make a slip stitch to finish that all off, and then I'll pull the yarn through to fully finish that there. The next thing that I'll be doing is chopping off the yarn tail that I already wove in previously. So I'm going to chop this one right here. So get up right close and personal to that stitch. pull and chop away and then pull a little bit to hide that. Now over here I do need to weave in this yarn tail into the back section to hide it. So I showed you that before previously, so if you want to do that again, go ahead and do that now. Okay, so we've just finished our Santa hat. We've woven in all of the yarn tail ends as much as possible. And now what we will be doing is making a mini pom-pom. So in order to do this, I've kind of cut out the shape of a miniature fork. If you have a mini fork, go ahead and use a mini fork because it's the same principle. I really like using this type of shape because it really helps me make the pom-pom the best that I can. So what I'll do, as you can see here, I've got a long strand of 1-ply yarn. Still I'm using 1-ply yarn. And I'm going to wrap it around just this middle section here first. Come out around again that middle section, and now I'm going to start wrapping around the entire thing. So we will do this a number of times until we have quite a thick ball of yarn wrapped around my cardboard fork over here. So we'll just keep wrapping, make it look nice, get some thickness, because that's essentially what we want, the thickness over here, until we think that it's a decent amount of yarn. So I'll probably wrap it just a little more, and let's say about that much. I think that's pretty good there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut the yarn. I'll leave this as is, and then I will cut another strand of yarn over here. And this time, because I'm using a cardboard fork, it's going to be hard to weave it in. So instead, what I will do is grab a needle, weave my cut yarn through this. So it's a new piece of cut yarn, by the way. And I'm going to come right into the middle portion of my fork, come around it, back into the middle, and then I'll grab these two ends. And what I will do at this point is tie a knot. So this is what you want to do. You want to tie a knot at this point. So just pulling it up a little bit more to make these sections even. And again, you're tying a double knot. So let's actually maybe just one knot at this point. Ooh, I'm not sure now. Yeah, let's just do, oh, maybe I will. Okay, just one knot, I guess, because what we can do at this point is pull off all of our yarn, turn this around, and tie a double knot now at this point. That will be a lot easier actually. So just be very steady with your hands because you don't want this to fall apart at this point. So be very careful. And tie, 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 tie. Tie very tightly, but don't pull too tightly so that you don't snap the yarn. And I will make a double knot over here. Maybe even a triple knot just to really secure that in place. All right, so there we go. We've got our knot. Now I don't want to let go of these two big fat strands over here. They're probably not the longest, but so I could have made these longer even if I wanted to, but I'll just leave it for now. So what I'm going to do here at this point, you can see we've got all of this over here, and we're going to chop it. So we're going to chop one side and then we'll chop the other side. So just grab a pair of cutters best as you can and chop all around that. Make sure you don't get the center because you don't want to chop that knot that you just tied as well. So we're going to continue chopping, chop, chop, chop. So I'll come into here now and chop the other side. Here we go. So I'm just using my pair of cutters to really get in there and chop. You can see how you wouldn't be able to use a pair of scissors here because they're too big. But in any case, we have our mini pair of cutters here that we can use. Okay, so now what we want to do, since we've got this ball, and you could even make this a little bit more fluffy by adding more yarn if you wanted to in the round. Now what we need to do is grab like some type of mini circle and use that as our reference guide. If you don't have one, you'll just have to use your eyes, I guess, as a good reference point here. But I'm going to squish this down, as you can see here, and get yourself a bowl or something, because what you're going to be doing here is just trying to make a decent circle with your little pom-pom. So that's what you want to be doing. And don't chop those two big yarn tails that we have over here. So I'm kind of holding them on the side as I'm chopping all the way around. So we'll do that. It's good to have a little lid or something that you can use as a reference point. Something circular but very tiny, so you can kind of chop around it. But if not, you just work it like I'm working it, with just my eyes, trying to make like a little ball. And it's going to be a small ball as well. So we'll just keep chopping away until you do all of that. Okay, so once we've done that, I could even make this a little bit smaller, because you can see this one's very tiny. In comparison, this is a lot tinier than this one. So I could keep chopping to make the radius and circumference a little bit smaller. But just as a reference point here, once you've done one side, of course, you will have to do the other side as well. So you'll have to fold the other side and fold it as best as you can, and then start chopping around so you can make that nice and even all the way across here as well. So I'll let you work on that by yourselves. And once you finish, come back, make the ball or your pom-pom the size that you want. Again, use a reference. So if you have some type of circular piece that you can place this on and cut around it, but it needs to be something that's very small. So maybe like a lid from a chapstick or something like that that you may be able to use. Something, again, very small. If you can't do it, you'll just have to eyeball it like me and do your best with it. So keep chopping away until you've got a small pom-pom that is nice and even, or as even as you can possibly make it. And once you've done that, come back and we'll do this next part together. Alright, so once you've done that, I kind of fluffed out my little pom-pom. And any uneven ends that you can see, you might just want to chop them away just to make it a little bit more even all the way around. But then once you've done that, you're ready now to sew this to the top of your Santa hat. So I'm pretty happy with this pom-pom right now. It's about the same size as my other one, which is perfect. And now all I'm going to do is sew this to the very top of my Santa hat. So let's do that now. Okay, so I've just got one of the yarn tails in here now, and I'm going to weave that through, I guess, the center of the top of the hat, and then I'll come out on one of the sides. So I'll do that there for one. And then with my other yarn tail, let's see if I can weave this through my needle first. I might do a little bit more weaving to secure this in place. So for example, I might come through another side or something, so maybe over here and then out the center, or roughly around the side, wherever that's pretty close to your pom-pom is where you can come out. Use a pair of pliers to help you pull that through. Now the only thing that I hate about this section is where my needle I don't have enough yarn here to be able to really weave around without having to put my yarn back in the needle every couple of seconds, because it's just too short. So next time, if you will, remember, just cut yourselves a little bit more yarn so you don't end up having such a small amount like I do here. And I'm just going to come right in the center of my pom-pom actually, and just pull that through, and this will help really secure it in place. And then I'll come a few times in and out of this. So here's the second time that I'm coming in, and I can even finish at this point. And so what I'll do is I'll come into the side again, and then I'll come out where I have my other yarn tail. So I'll pull that through, pull it nice and neatly there. And then what I'll do is I'll tie these two yarn tails in a double knot. Again, this just secures it in place, where we can all be happy and know that it's not going to fall apart. So again, a double knot right there, as you can see. And then I'm just going to chop the yarn very close to that double knot, and then weave this yarn tail into the hat to hide it. Now it shouldn't come apart because we already secured it around the pom-pom a few times, so that's why we can be assured that everything with this pom-pom is fine. Now if you do need to cut a few more pieces from your pom-pom because you can see little strayaways or whatnot, feel free to do that so you can get your pom-pom nice and even, or as even as possible. Now finally, to finish this off, you want to bend your pom-pom, and then you just want to use a piece of red yarn and tie it together at the top there so you can really secure it in place. So let's do that now. So here's my red yarn, and what I'm just going to do at this point is weave this portion. I'll just fold it a little, it doesn't have to be too much, and then come out at one of these stitches and pull my yarn tail. There we go. And then I'm just going to come maybe to the side and then come out at a different section over here. Again, maybe in the same space that we came out of here, but then in a different stitch up here. At least I'm thinking I'm in a different stitch, but maybe I'm not. I'll come out over here. There, that should be a different stitch. Good. Don't pull it too tight because you don't want this to bend in. And now I might come down around here, and this time I won't go through the other side. I'll just come out around about here. So I'm going through one stitch there and then coming out in a different stitch space. So I'm not coming out over here. So I'm just really trying to secure this where I'm not making any other crinkles in my yarn hat as well. You could also just use a dab of glue, you know. That would work just as well to make this Santa hat kind of bend down over here. And I'll come back out here and come to where my yarn tail is. Pull that nice and tight now, including this one. And then I just will tie it in place. It should be quite secure if I do that. So let's tie it in place. Pulling it a little bit, making sure you can't really see the yarn tail underneath here. That's why we pull it. And then make a double knot. As always, our double knot. Now if you find a better way to do this, feel free to do that. I didn't really explore this. I'm just kind of sewing it together. I probably could have even started like over here and then just sewed one side of it together. Anyway, it's up to you how you want to sew this. You could use glue, whatever takes your fancy here. And again, I'll just finish this with a double knot. I will chop my yarn. Be careful not to get the pom-pom. So chop the yarn away and then just push that yarn tail back into the hat to hide it, because that's exactly what you want to do. You want to hide it, you don't want it to be visible. So we'll do that until it's all gone. And once it's all gone, you have just finished your beautiful Santa hat, as you can see here. I'll just make this a little bigger inside here. So there we go. So now that we have the Santa hats, so there's two of them right here, 1 and 2. All we need to do now is add our earrings to our beautiful Santa hats. So what you will need at this point is your jump ring and then your hook. And when we open the jump ring, as always, if you've seen any of my other videos, I always open these from the side, just like that. So there, I'm opening it from the side. And now what we will do is grab our Santa hat, and you can do this any way you would like. So I might have this one facing this way, this one may face this way. And all I'll do is I'll come over here and I will insert the hook sideways on top of the Santa hat, just like this. And once it's sideways like that, you will grab your hook and then you will insert it so it's facing the back. And then from there, you're going to close your jump ring from the side. Again, you always want to do this from the side so it doesn't lose its circular shape. So close that as best as you can. This is the front way that I'm talking about. Don't push that too hard. So just close it from the side. Once you've done that, put that side section inside, face it downwards, if you will, and then you have your beautiful Santa hat earrings, as you can see here. And all we need to do now is just add them to one of these earring cards. So let's do that now. Here's one of my Santa hats, and here's the second Santa hat right there. So if you wanted to be even more creative, you could even add a little bit of a jingle bell inside so it kind of dingles, especially for Christmas. Not too hard to do, it's just with a little bit of string and connect it to a little bit of a jingle bell, and you'll have a little jingle inside your Santa hat, but that's up to you. Anyways, I hope that helps, and I hope you've learned how to make your Santa hat earrings.